Aaliyah Bennett, a 29-year-old fashion designer from Atlanta, embodies resilience and creativity. Standing at 5 feet 7 inches with warm brown skin and tightly coiled black hair often styled in intricate updos, she exudes confidence yet harbors quiet insecurities. Her almond-shaped eyes, framed by thick lashes, reveal an inner spark, one that has fueled her journey against countless odds. Aaliyah's wardrobe is an eclectic mix of bold prints and classic silhouettes, often pieces from her own designs. Her personality blends warmth with fierce determination. She is known for her sharp wit, unwavering loyalty to those she loves, and a perfectionism that sometimes leaves her sleepless. Friends describe her as someone who sees potential in what others overlook, whether it's in discarded fabric scraps or people's underestimated talents. Raised in a working-class neighborhood, Aaliyah's passion for fashion was ignited by her grandmother, Evelyn, a retired seamstress who taught her how to sew at age 7. The rhythmic hum of the sewing machine and the scent of fresh fabric became as familiar to her as her own heartbeat. Despite facing societal pressures and racial microaggressions, Aaliyah never lost sight of her dream, launching her fashion line rooted in celebrating Black culture and sustainability. Beneath her confident exterior, though, lies a lingering fear. Will the world truly embrace her vision, or will biases overshadow her artistry? Daily routine. Aaliyah's day begins before sunrise. Her alarm buzzes at 5 a.m., but she's usually awake, mind swirling with designs from her dreams. She starts with a 20-minute meditation to calm her racing thoughts, followed by a quick jog through her neighborhood, earbuds pumping soulful beats that inspire her. Breakfast is a smoothie made from kale, berries, and almond milk, fuel for the demanding hours ahead. By 7 a.m., she's in her home studio, a converted second bedroom bursting with color. Fabric rolls lean against the walls, mood boards filled with sketches, magazine cutouts, and swatches crowd the corkboards. Her laptop plays a playlist ranging from old-school R&B to modern Afrobeats as she dives into emails from suppliers and clients. Her days are a blur of cutting fabric, adjusting patterns, virtual meetings with her small but dedicated team, and countless fittings. Lunch is often an afterthought, usually scarfed down between sewing and responding to messages on social media, where her growing audience eagerly anticipates updates on her debut collection. Evenings are dedicated to refining designs, checking stitching details, and ensuring every piece aligns with her vision. By midnight, she collapses into bed, exhausted but hopeful. Sleep doesn't come easy. Ideas keep her mind buzzing, each day bringing her closer to the official launch of her line, Evoke. Setting description. Aaliyah's world is a juxtaposition of modest beginnings and aspirational ambition. Her apartment in Atlanta's Old Fourth Ward is small but brimming with character. Exposed brick walls hold framed prints of iconic Black artists and vintage Vogue covers. Her living room doubles as a display space, with dress forms adorned in vibrant fabrics, bold ochre prints, soft silks, and organic cottons. Plants cascade from shelves, their greenery adding warmth amidst the creative chaos. Her studio is the apartment's heartbeat. The space is organized in organized disarray. Fabric scraps litter the floor, sketchbooks pile on the desk, and spools of thread sit like colorful sentinels. Large windows flood the room with natural light, essential for matching fabric colors and checking intricate stitching details. A worn sewing machine, gifted by her grandmother, stands proudly at the center, its hum a constant companion in her journey. Outside, the neighborhood pulses with energy. Cafes serve artisanal coffee to young creatives, while murals celebrating Black excellence stretch across building walls. Street vendors sell handcrafted jewelry, and laughter spills from community events at the local park. Aaliyah often finds inspiration during evening walks, observing the eclectic mix of cultures that shape Atlanta's vibrancy. Yet, amidst this colorful tapestry, she sometimes feels the weight of standing out, not just as an artist, but as a Black woman daring to dream big in an industry slow to embrace diversity. Her favorite cafe, Bean and Bloom, is a sanctuary where she sketches over lavender lattes. The baristas know her order by heart, and local patrons often peek at her designs, offering encouragement. It's here she gathers fragments of stories, textures, and colors that seep into her creations, This neighborhood, with its blend of tradition and modernity, mirrors her line, rooted in heritage, yet undeniably contemporary, foreshadowing conflict. Despite her growing online following and community support, a cloud of uncertainty looms over Aaliyah. Industry insiders have hinted that breaking into high fashion as a Black designer from a non-traditional background is a gamble. Whispers circulate about whether her designs are marketable enough for mainstream appeal. Doubts creep in during quiet moments. Will buyers dismiss her work as too niche? Can she prove herself in a field dominated by legacy names and gatekeepers hesitant to embrace fresh perspectives? The upcoming launch event, set to take place at a local gallery, is both a dream and a source of anxiety. Critics have been invited, some known for harsh reviews that can make or break careers. Aaliyah's team reassures her, but late-night social media deep dives reveal online forums questioning her credentials with subtle undertones of racial bias. She brushes it off publicly, but privately, the comments sting. Success feels within reach, yet fragile. The stakes are high, and as she finalizes details for the launch, she can't shake the thought, what if this isn't enough? The incident. The morning of Aaliyah's long-anticipated launch dawned with a mix of excitement and nerves. Her phone buzzed relentlessly with last-minute confirmations, models arriving, caterers setting up, and her best friend and publicist, Marcus, double-checking the guest list. The venue, an industrial-style gallery with exposed beams and polished concrete floors, had been transformed overnight. Her designs hung elegantly on mannequins, each piece a testament to months of tireless work. As final touches were applied to the lighting and decor, Marcus approached her, holding his phone with a concerned expression. "Hey, you need to see this," he said quietly. Confused, Aaliyah took the phone. A prominent fashion blogger, known for their influence and brutally honest reviews, had posted a pre-event critique. Another newcomer with bold claims, but unoriginal designs. Can cultural heritage alone carry a collection? The industry needs innovation, not recycled statements. The post was already gaining traction, with comments echoing skepticism and casting doubt on her work's originality. Her stomach dropped. She had anticipated criticism, but not before anyone had even seen her collection. The words unoriginal and recycled echoed in her mind, threatening to unravel her confidence. Marcus reached out, squeezing her shoulder. "They haven't even seen your work, Aaliyah. You know how these people are, looking for clicks." Still, the seed of doubt had been planted. As guests began to trickle in, including local press and industry figures she admired, Aaliyah plastered on a smile. But inside, her mind raced with the blogger's words, twisting excitement into dread. What if they're right? She wondered. What if I'm just another name that fades away? Protagonist's reaction. Throughout the evening, Aaliyah floated between conversations, her lips smiling but heart sinking. Compliments from friends and community members offered temporary relief, but her gaze kept darting toward the critics clustered near the back, stoic, arms crossed, taking notes with unreadable expressions. Every whispered exchange seemed like a judgment, every glance her way a silent verdict. When the models began their walk, showcasing flowing garments adorned with hand-painted patterns inspired by West African textiles and modern silhouettes, the audience erupted with applause. Cameras flashed. Influencers filmed Instagram stories praising the designs. Yet, Aaliyah found herself scanning the crowd for them, the critics. Their polite claps felt obligatory, their faces betraying little enthusiasm. After the show, a reporter asked, "Aaliyah, how do you respond to early criticism suggesting your work lacks originality?" The question hit like a punch to the gut. Her rehearsed answers faltered. "I believe my collection is a fusion of heritage and contemporary design," she managed, voice tight. Marcus quickly intervened, redirecting the conversation. Alone in the restroom moments later, Aaliyah stared at her reflection. Why does one negative voice outweigh all the positive ones? Her pulse quickened, doubt gnawing at the edges of her pride. Success felt so close, yet just out of reach. Impact on routine. In the days following the launch, the initial buzz was promising: social media praise, community support, and local boutiques expressing interest. Yet the blogger's critique, now circulating widely, overshadowed much of the positivity. Headlines focused on the controversy, bold or boring. Critics clash over Bennett's debut. The duality of public admiration and industry skepticism left Aaliyah in an emotional whirlwind. Her routine, once a source of comfort, began to crumble. Morning jogs were replaced with scrolling through articles and comments, dissecting every opinion. Her inbox flooded with interview requests, but she hesitated to respond, fearing further scrutiny. Marcus urged her to stay positive. People love your work, Aaliyah. Don't let a few voices get in your head. Easier said than done. Her studio, once a haven of creativity, now felt suffocating. Sketches for future designs remained untouched. She second-guessed every choice. Were her fabrics too predictable? Were her designs truly innovative? Clients she'd once approached with confidence now seemed like potential critics. Even casual outings became stress-inducing. At Bean and Bloom, conversations hushed when she entered. Supporters approached with kind words, but her mind twisted them into pity. Nights were the worst. She lay awake replaying every review, every skeptical glance from the launch. The passion that once drove her now felt overshadowed by fear of failure. The weeks following the launch brought a roller coaster of emotions. While local support remained strong, mainstream fashion media largely ignored Aaliyah's collection, except for the negative narrative spurred by the viral critique. Other influential fashion voices chimed in, some dismissing her work as predictable, others questioning whether her success was rooted more in a desire for diversity optics rather than genuine merit. Social media, once a source of motivation, became a battlefield. Hashtags both supporting and criticizing her trended intermittently. Comments ranged from "her designs are stunning and represent our culture beautifully" to "she's riding the diversity wave, nothing groundbreaking here." It was the latter sentiments that lodged themselves in Aaliyah's mind. An interview opportunity with a major fashion publication initially thrilled her, until the piece dropped with the headline, "Is Aaliyah Bennett's Evoke collection more hype than substance?" The article barely discussed her design process, focusing instead on the controversy and industry skepticism. Feeling betrayed, Aaliyah confronted Marcus. "Why did we even agree to that interview?" she snapped, voice thick with frustration. Marcus sighed. "We can't control how they spin things. Not everyone will get it, Aaliyah." To make matters worse, a high-end retailer she'd courted for months declined to stock her collection, citing a lack of proven market appeal. The rejection stung, especially after she overheard whispers at a networking event implying her brand was a passing trend. Each setback compounded the pressure, transforming what should have been a triumphant moment into a constant fight to prove her worth. Secondary characters. Amidst the turmoil, the people surrounding Aaliyah played pivotal roles. Marcus remained her rock, offering pep talks, shielding her from harsh press inquiries, and brainstorming strategies to shift public perception. "You didn't start this to please critics," he reminded her during late-night calls. "You started this to tell your story." Yet even his unwavering support couldn't fully penetrate her growing self-doubt. Her grandmother, Evelyn, offered a different kind of solace. Visiting her small home adorned with hand-sewn quilts and family photos, Aaliyah found brief reprieve. "Baby," Evelyn said gently, holding her hand. "Critics are loud because they ain't the ones creating. You just keep sowing your truth." Those words lingered, providing fleeting moments of clarity. However, not all relationships remained intact. An old design school acquaintance, now an established designer, publicly questioned her readiness for the big leagues in a podcast interview. "Aaliyah's got heart, sure, but heart isn't enough," he remarked. Hearing that from someone she once called a friend felt like a knife twist. Then there was Jasmine, one of her lead models, and an unexpected source of encouragement. "People fear what they don't understand," she told Aaliyah after a particularly rough day. "Your designs mean something. That scares folks used to shallow trends." Jasmine's words offered temporary comfort, but didn't silence the nagging question. Was meaning enough? Protagonist's inner struggle. Aaliyah's mind became a storm of conflicting thoughts. Each morning, she grappled with whether to push forward or retreat. The collection she once loved now felt like a target painted on her back. She spent hours replaying interviews in her head, mentally rewriting answers she wished she'd given. Why didn't I defend myself harder? Why did I let their words affect me this much? Her creative spark dimmed. Designs for her next collection remained rough sketches, untouched. Every idea seemed inadequate. What's the point if they'll just tear me down again? She wondered. Her apartment, once a sanctuary of vibrant fabrics and inspiring mood boards, now felt oppressive. She avoided her studio, the sewing machine's once comforting hum, now a painful reminder of expectations she feared she couldn't meet. Sleep eluded her. Nights were spent scrolling through comment sections, searching for validation, but finding a mix of praise and vitriol. Even positive comments began to ring hollow. Are they just being nice? Do they really believe in me? Her mind latched onto every negative remark, amplifying insecurities she thought she'd conquered. The weight of representing not just herself, but her community added another layer of pressure. She recalled a conversation with Marcus. People are looking up to you, Aaliyah. Your success means something bigger. But that thought didn't motivate, it paralyzed. What if I fail and let them all down? Worse were the moments of guilt when she found herself resenting the very community she wanted to uplift. Why is it my responsibility to carry this burden? Why can't I just design without all this noise? Those thoughts scared her, conflicting with her core values. She wanted to create from a place of love, not obligation or fear. Isolated and overwhelmed, Aaliyah withdrew from friends, ignoring calls and texts. Marcus's concerned messages piled up. Talk to me. Evelyn's voicemails urged her to visit again. But shame kept her silent. She couldn't bear to face them when she felt so lost. Then, one sleepless night, she stood before her studio door, hand hovering over the knob. Her reflection in a nearby mirror caught her eye. Tired eyes, disheveled hair. A shell of the woman who once brimmed with vision. Tears pricked her eyes. How did I get here? She wondered. And how do I find my way back? Foreshadowing climax. Just when Aaliyah felt ready to step back entirely, a new email notification flashed on her screen. Initially tempted to ignore it, something, curiosity, desperation, made her open it. The sender, Harper Lewis, an influential editor at Style and Substance, a respected fashion publication known for championing emerging talent. The message was brief but impactful. Aaliyah, your collection has sparked a conversation that goes beyond trends. We'd like to feature you in an upcoming piece exploring authenticity in modern fashion. Let me know if you're interested. Her pulse quickened. Was this a lifeline or another trap? Harper was known for integrity, but skepticism lingered. Still, something about the email, its tone, the acknowledgement of a conversation rather than just controversy, stirred something long dormant. Hope. Yet fear gnawed at the edges. What if it's just another chance for critics to pick me apart? But deeper still was another voice, quieter but persistent. What if it's the chance you've been waiting for? The choice loomed. Step back into the arena, risks and all, or let doubt win. Turning point. Aaliyah sat at her kitchen table, the early morning sun casting a warm glow through the window. Her untouched cup of tea had long gone cold as she stared at her laptop screen. The email from Harper Lewis remained open, the words pulsing with possibility. Marcus's words echoed in her mind. You didn't start this to please critics. You started this to tell your story. Evelyn's voice, too, lingered. Baby, just keep sowing your truth. Taking a deep breath, she typed a reply. Thank you for reaching out, Harper. I would be honored to be part of the feature. Let me know the details. Her finger hovered for a moment before she hit send. Instantly, her heart pounded, part fear, part exhilaration. Within hours, Harper responded with details of the interview, scheduled at a local cafe known for its intimate ambience. On the day of the meeting, Marcus insisted on accompanying her. Moral support, he said with a wink, though his concern was clear. Harper greeted them warmly, a woman in her late 40s with salt and pepper hair and sharp eyes softened by kindness. Aaliyah, your work speaks volumes, she began. This piece isn't about controversy. It's about authenticity and the courage it takes to share personal narratives through art. The interview flowed like a conversation between old friends. Harper asked thoughtful questions about Aaliyah's inspiration, her heritage, and the emotional journey behind Evoke. For the first time in weeks, Aaliyah spoke freely, her passion reigniting with each word. Harper listened intently, taking notes but never interrupting, allowing Aaliyah's voice to shine. As they wrapped up, Harper smiled. People need stories like yours, Aaliyah. Not just in fashion, but in life. Walking out of the cafe, Aaliyah felt lighter. Marcus grinned. See? Told you. This is your moment. A week later, the Style and Substance feature dropped. titled Sewing Her Truth: How Aaliyah Bennett is Redefining Modern Fashion. The article delved deep into her journey, highlighting her fusion of cultural heritage with contemporary design. Harper's words painted a vivid picture of resilience, creativity, and the importance of authenticity. But what truly surprised Aaliyah was the article's reach. It didn't just stay within fashion circles. It spread across social media platforms, garnering praise from unexpected corners. Celebrities reposted snippets, praising her dedication. Influential designers, including some who'd previously been critical, publicly acknowledged her work. One tweet from a renowned designer read, "Aaliyah Bennett's collection challenges us to rethink what innovation truly means." Honored to witness her journey. Yet the biggest shock came from the blogger who had initially criticized her. In a follow-up post, they wrote, "After reading Aaliyah Bennett's story and revisiting her collection, I realize I underestimated her vision. Her designs aren't just clothes, they're conversations. I stand corrected." Aaliyah reread the post multiple times, disbelief giving way to an overwhelming mix of relief and validation. Marcus called, practically shouting through the phone, "Girl, you broke the internet. This is what redemption looks like." Even the high-end retailer that previously rejected her reached out, expressing interest in a collaboration. Opportunities flooded in, speaking engagements, design partnerships, and invitations to international fashion weeks. But amidst the whirlwind of newfound acclaim, what struck Aaliyah most was the messages from everyday people. "Your story inspired me to pursue my dreams. Seeing someone embrace their culture with pride gives me hope. Thank you for reminding us that our roots are our strength." Tears welled up as she read each one. This was why she started. Not for the critics or the fame, but for connection, for representation, for her truth. Emotional impact. Standing in her studio, surrounded by vibrant fabrics and half-finished sketches, Aaliyah let the emotions wash over her. Pride, gratitude, and a deep sense of fulfillment filled her chest. The doubts that had haunted her now seemed distant echoes compared to the resounding chorus of support and recognition. She picked up a piece of Kent cloth, her grandmother's favorite, and gently ran her fingers over the intricate patterns. "This is where I come from," she thought, "and this is what I bring to the world." A tear slipped down her cheek, not from sadness but from the overwhelming realization that she had stayed true to herself, and it had made all the difference. Marcus entered, holding 2 cups of coffee. Celebratory lattes, he grinned, handing her one. "You earned it." They sat on the studio floor, surrounded by her designs. "Crazy how fast things changed, huh?" he mused. Aaliyah nodded. "I was ready to quit," she admitted. "But I'm glad I didn't. I forgot why I started, but now I remember." Her phone buzzed with another notification. This time, an invitation to showcase her next collection at an international fashion festival. She laughed, shaking her head. "Life's funny." Marcus raised his cup. "To you, Aaliyah Bennett, the woman who silenced the doubters and found her voice." "To the journey," she replied, clinking cups. As the evening sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden glow across the studio, Aaliyah felt a deep sense of peace. The road had been rough, but every step, every doubt, every tear had led her here, and she was ready for whatever came next. Healing actions. With the tide of public perception shifted, Aaliyah focused on reclaiming her joy in designing. Her first step was returning to the roots that grounded her. She spent a weekend with her grandmother, Evelyn, absorbing stories of their ancestors and flipping through old family photo albums. "This is where your strength comes from, baby," Evelyn said, pointing to a worn photograph of Aaliyah's great-grandmother in a vibrant hand-sewn dress. Inspired, Aaliyah incorporated those ancestral designs into her next collection, calling it Legacy. Back at her studio, she reignited connections she had withdrawn from during her low points. Reaching out to Jasmine and her team, she hosted a small gathering to express gratitude. "I couldn't have done this without you," she said, holding back tears. Jasmine smiled. "We always believed in you, even when you didn't." She also mended strained relationships. She contacted the design school acquaintance whose public criticism had stung. "No hard feelings," she said over coffee. "We're all on our own journeys." The gesture surprised him, prompting an apology and a renewed friendship. Most importantly, Aaliyah began speaking at local schools, encouraging young aspiring designers to embrace their identities. Your story matters, she told them. Never let anyone make you feel small. Each talk was healing, both for the audience and herself. Positive change. The newfound clarity transformed Aaliyah's approach to her work and life. Instead of designing to silence critics, she focused on creating pieces that resonated with her soul. Legacy debuted at the International Fashion Festival to a standing ovation, with critics praising the raw emotion and cultural richness woven into every garment. Even those who once doubted her now spoke of her as a visionary in modern fashion. Her personal life flourished, too. Marcus, ever supportive, became her business partner officially. "We make a good team," he said, signing the paperwork with a grin. Their collaboration brought fresh perspectives, allowing her to focus on creativity while he managed logistics. Evelyn proudly wore one of Aaliyah's designs to a community event, drawing compliments. "My granddaughter made this," she beamed, eyes sparkling. Seeing her grandmother's pride was a reward beyond any critical acclaim. Aaliyah's studio transformed into a vibrant space of inspiration, walls adorned with mood boards, fabric samples, and messages from supporters. She invited young designers to intern, fostering a community of creativity and mentorship. "I don't just want to succeed," she told Marcus. "I want to lift others up along the way." Peace, once elusive, now felt like a constant companion. Final reflection. Late one evening, alone in her studio, Aaliyah stood before her latest creation, a gown inspired by the stories her grandmother had shared. Running her fingers over the fabric, she marveled at how far she'd come. The self-doubt that once loomed large had shrunk to a distant memory, replaced by confidence rooted in authenticity. "I thought success was about proving others wrong," she mused. "But really, it's about staying true to myself." Her journey had been messy, filled with highs, lows, and unexpected twists, but each moment had carved her into who she was now. A designer, a storyteller, a woman unapologetically embracing her voice. Looking out the window at the city skyline, she whispered, "Thank you." To the struggles, the support, the lessons. All of it had led her here, to a place where she no longer chased validation but created from a place of love. This is just the beginning, she thought, heart swelling with gratitude and excitement for what lay ahead. Symbolic ending. On a crisp autumn morning, Aaliyah stood backstage at the International Fashion Festival, nerves tingling with anticipation. The lights dimmed, and the first model stepped onto the runway wearing a piece from Legacy, a breathtaking fusion of traditional patterns and contemporary silhouettes. The audience gasped in awe. As the show ended, Aaliyah walked onto the stage, greeted by thunderous applause. She glanced at the front row, Marcus beaming, Evelyn dabbing her eyes with a handkerchief, Jasmine cheering loudly. Spotting young faces in the crowd, she saw hope reflecting back at her. Raising her hand in gratitude, she took a deep breath, letting the moment wash over her. The journey hadn't been easy, but standing there, bathed in the glow of acceptance and self-assurance, she knew every hurdle had been worth it. As she stepped off the stage, a young girl approached, eyes wide. "I want to be like you," she whispered. Aaliyah knelt down, smiling warmly. "No," she said gently, "be you. That's the real magic." Walking away, the stage lights fading behind her, Aaliyah felt a profound sense of peace. Her voice had been heard, not just through words, but through every stitch, every pattern, every piece of her truth.